Daily morning routine. Hi there. Let me tell you about my daily morning routine. I like to start my day early because it helps me feel organized and ready. My alarm rings at 6:30 a.m., and even though I sometimes want to hit the snooze button, I try my best to get up right away. The first thing I do is wash my face and brush my teeth. It helps me feel fresh and awake. After that, I drink a glass of water because I've heard it's good for your health. Then, I make my bed. It's a small task, but it makes my room look tidy and gives me a sense of accomplishment. Once that's done, I spend about 10 minutes stretching or doing light exercise. It helps my body feel more active and ready for the day. After exercising, I take a quick shower and get dressed for the day. I usually pick my clothes the night before, so I don't have to spend too much time deciding in the morning. After getting dressed, it's time for breakfast. I like to keep it simple, maybe some eggs, toast, and a cup of tea or coffee. While eating, I often check my phone for messages or quickly go through my schedule for the day. Once breakfast is done, I grab my bag, make sure I have everything I need, and head out the door. I like my morning routine because it helps me stay focused and calm. It's a great way to start the day on a positive note. How to stay organized in college or university? Staying organized in college or university is so important, and I've learned a few simple ways to manage my time and responsibilities. First, I keep a planner or use a phone app to write down important dates like exams, assignments, and meetings. This helps me remember everything and avoid last-minute stress. Every Sunday, I take a few minutes to plan my week. I write down what I need to study, any appointments I have, and my personal goals. Breaking big tasks into smaller ones also helps a lot. For example, if I have a big project, I divide it into research, writing, and editing steps, and set a deadline for each part. I also keep my study space clean and organized. When my desk is tidy, I can focus better and find everything I need quickly. Another thing that helps me stay organized is making a daily to-do list. I prioritize my tasks by importance and deadline, so I know what to focus on first. Sometimes I use reminders on my phone to make sure I don't forget anything. Staying organized isn't always easy, but these small habits make a big difference. They help me manage my time better, reduce stress, and achieve my goals without feeling overwhelmed. Talking about your favorite hobbies. One of my favorite things to talk about is my hobbies. I believe hobbies are a great way to relax, learn new skills, and enjoy life. My favorite hobby is reading. I love getting lost in a good book. It's like going on an adventure without leaving my room. I enjoy reading different types of books, but I especially like novels and self-improvement books. Another hobby I enjoy is cooking. Trying new recipes and experimenting with flavors is so much fun. It's also a great way to unwind after a long day. Sometimes I invite my friends over and cook for them, which makes it even more enjoyable. Besides reading and cooking, I also like going for walks in the park. It helps me clear my mind and stay active. Listening to podcasts or audiobooks while walking makes it even better. I think having hobbies is really important. They help you take a break from work or study and do something just for yourself. Plus, they give you interesting things to talk about with others. What's your favorite hobby? Describing your dream job. Ever since I was a kid, I've had a dream job in mind. I want to become a teacher. I love the idea of helping people learn and grow. Teaching is not just about giving information. It's about inspiring and encouraging others. I think being a teacher requires patience, creativity, and a lot of dedication, and I believe I have those qualities. I enjoy explaining things and seeing that moment when someone finally understands something they were struggling with. It's a wonderful feeling. I also like the idea of building strong connections with students and making a positive impact on their lives. In my free time, I sometimes help my younger siblings or friends with their studies, and I find it so rewarding. I know that being a teacher can be challenging, but I'm ready for the hard work because I believe it's worth it. I want to keep learning and improving so I can be the best teacher I can be. That's my dream. A day in the life of a student. My life as a student is busy but exciting. Every day brings something new to learn and experience. I usually wake up early so I have enough time to get ready and have a good breakfast before my classes start. My mornings are often spent attending lectures or working on assignments. I try to stay focused and take good notes because it helps me understand the topics better. During lunch break, I meet up with friends and we talk about our classes or just relax. After lunch, I either go to the library to study or work on group projects. Evenings are my time to unwind. I sometimes go for a walk or spend some time reading. If I have exams or important assignments, I use that time to prepare. Before going to bed, I review my notes and plan the next day's tasks. It's a busy routine, but I enjoy it because I know it's helping me build my future. How to stay motivated. When studying English can sometimes feel challenging, but staying motivated makes it easier and more enjoyable. I remind myself why I'm learning English. It opens up so many opportunities, like studying abroad or getting a good job. To keep myself motivated, I set small, realistic goals. For example, I might aim to learn 10 new words every week or practice speaking for 10 minutes a day. I also make learning fun by watching simple English videos or reading short stories. Sometimes I practice with friends, which helps me stay consistent. When I see my progress, like understanding a new conversation or writing better sentences, it keeps me inspired. Staying motivated takes effort, but remembering my goals and celebrating small achievements keeps me going. Simple ways to manage your time better. Managing time well is something I've been working on, and I found a few simple ways that really help. First, I make a daily to-do list and prioritize my tasks. This helps me focus on the most important things first. I also set specific time limits for each task, like studying for an hour and then taking a 10-minute break. Using a planner or calendar helps me keep track of deadlines and appointments. I avoid multitasking because it often makes me less productive. Instead, I focus on one thing at a time. By staying organized and planning ahead, I can manage my time better and feel less stressed. Shopping for everyday essentials. Shopping for everyday essentials is something I do regularly, and I like to keep it simple and organized. Before I go shopping, I make a list of what I need, things like groceries, toiletries, and cleaning supplies. This helps me avoid forgetting anything important. I usually go to a nearby supermarket because it has everything in one place. While shopping, I check prices and try to stick to my budget. I also look for discounts or special offers to save money. Once I'm done, I double-check my list to make sure I got everything. Shopping for essentials may seem like a small task, but doing it well helps keep my home running smoothly. How to stay healthy and fit. Staying healthy and fit is very important to me, and I try to take good care of my body and mind. I start by eating balanced meals with fruits, vegetables, and protein. Drinking enough water throughout the day keeps me hydrated. I also make sure to exercise regularly. Sometimes I go for a walk, do some yoga, or follow a simple workout at home. Getting enough sleep is another big part of staying healthy. I try to manage stress by taking breaks and spending time with loved ones. Staying healthy takes effort, but it makes me feel strong, happy, and ready for anything. Talking about your weekend plans. Weekends are my favorite time because I get to relax and do things I enjoy. This weekend, I plan to catch up on my studies and organize my room. I also want to spend some time reading a new book and maybe go for a long walk in the park. Sometimes I meet up with friends for a cup of coffee and good conversation. Taking time to rest and recharge helps me start the new week with more energy and focus. Weekends are the perfect balance of productivity and relaxation, and how to build self-confidence. Building self-confidence is something I've been working on for a while, and I've learned that it takes time and effort. Confidence doesn't mean being perfect. It means believing in yourself and your abilities. One thing that helps me is positive self-talk. Instead of focusing on my mistakes, I try to remind myself of my strengths and the things I've done well. For example, when I do well on a test or help a friend, I take a moment to feel proud of myself. Another way I build confidence is by setting small, achievable goals. When I accomplish them, it gives me a sense of success and pushes me to keep going. I also try to step out of my comfort zone even when it feels scary. Speaking up in class or starting a conversation with someone new can be hard, but every time I do it, I feel more confident. Taking care of my appearance also helps. When I wear clothes I like and take care of my hygiene, I feel better about myself. Surrounding myself with supportive and positive people makes a big difference too. When my friends and family encourage me, it boosts my confidence even more. I've learned that it's okay to make mistakes. They help me grow and improve. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about trying your best and believing in your potential. Managing stress in a healthy way. Stress is something we all experience, but I've found some simple ways to manage it without feeling overwhelmed. The first thing I do when I feel stressed is take a few deep breaths. It sounds simple, but it helps me calm down and think more clearly. I also like to write down my thoughts in a journal. When I put my worries on paper, they seem easier to handle. Another thing that helps me manage stress is staying organized. When I plan my day and keep track of my tasks, I feel more in control and less anxious. Taking breaks is important too. When I study or work for long hours, I make sure to step away for a few minutes, stretch, or drink some water. Exercise is another great stress reliever. Even a short walk outside helps me feel refreshed and clear-headed. I also try to focus on things I can control instead of worrying about things I can't. Talking to a trusted friend or family member about my feelings makes a big difference. They often give me good advice or just listen, which helps me feel supported. Managing stress takes practice, but taking care of my mind and body helps me stay balanced and focused. Why it's important to learn. Learning new skills, is something I love because it helps me grow and improve myself. Every time I learn something new, I feel more confident and capable. One of the biggest benefits of learning new skills is that it opens up more opportunities. For example, learning a new language like English can help me travel, study abroad, or get a better job. Learning practical skills like cooking, budgeting, or time management also helps me in my daily life. I believe that learning doesn't stop after school. There's always something new to discover. I try to set goals for myself, like learning how to type faster or improve my public speaking. It's not always easy, but practicing regularly helps me get better. I also enjoy learning from different sources, like online courses, books, or people with experience. Sometimes I even learn by watching others and trying things on my own. One thing I've realized is that mistakes are part of learning. When I mess up, I take it as a lesson and try again. Learning new skills takes patience, but the results are always worth it. How to make good friends. Making good friends has been one of the most important and rewarding parts of my life. I've learned that true friendship isn't about having a lot of friends, but about having the right ones. Good friends are kind, supportive, and trustworthy. To make good friends, I try to be friendly and approachable. A simple smile or a kind word can start a conversation. I also try to show interest in other people's lives by asking questions and really listening to their answers. Being a good listener helps me understand people better and makes them feel valued. Another thing I focus on is being kind and respectful. I avoid gossip and try to support my friends when they're going through a tough time. Trust is also important in friendship. I always keep my promises and respect my friends' privacy. Spending time together and sharing experiences helps build stronger bonds. Whether it's studying together, going for a walk, or just talking about our day, these moments strengthen our friendship. I believe that being honest and understanding helps friendships last. Good friends bring joy and support into my life, and I do my best to be a good friend in return. The benefits of reading books. Reading books is one of my favorite hobbies because it's both relaxing and educational. Every time I read a book, I learn something new and expand my imagination. Books take me to different places and introduce me to different ideas and cultures. Reading also helps me improve my language skills. I learn new words and phrases, which makes it easier for me to express myself. When I read regularly, my writing and speaking improve too. I find that reading reduces my stress. After a long day, a good book helps me unwind and forget my worries for a while. I also enjoy the quiet and peace that comes with reading. Books teach me valuable life lessons and help me see the world from different perspectives. Whether it's a novel, a self-help book, or a biography, every book offers something meaningful. Reading also boosts my concentration and focus. The more I read, the easier it becomes to stay engaged with longer texts. I believe that reading is a habit everyone should develop because it's one of the best ways to grow and learn. Why it's important to set goals. Setting goals has helped me stay focused and motivated in life. When I set clear goals, I know exactly what I want to achieve and how to get there. I like to set both short-term and long-term goals. For example, a short-term goal might be finishing a book, while a long-term goal could be improving my English skills. Goals give me direction and keep me organized. I break bigger goals into smaller steps, so they feel more manageable. Writing. My goals down helps me stay committed, and I review them regularly to track my progress. Achieving a goal gives me a sense of accomplishment and pushes me to aim higher. Even when I don't reach a goal right away, I learn valuable lessons from the effort. Staying focused and consistent helps me overcome challenges. Setting goals also helps me manage my time better because I prioritize tasks that bring me closer to my objectives. I believe that with patience and hard work, any goal can be achieved. How to improve your writing skills. Improving my writing skills has been one of the most useful things I've done. Good writing helps me express my ideas clearly and confidently. One thing that helps me improve is reading regularly. When I read different types of texts, I learn new words and see different writing styles. I also practice writing every day, even if it's just a few sentences in my journal. Planning my writing before I start helps me organize my thoughts. I focus on using simple, clear language and avoid long, complicated sentences. After writing, I take time to review and edit my work. Checking for grammar mistakes and improving my sentence structure makes my writing better. Sometimes I ask friends or teachers for feedback because they notice things I might miss. Practicing consistently helps me become more confident in my writing abilities. Writing is a skill that improves with effort, and I believe anyone can become a good writer with patience and practice. How to stay motivated when studying. Staying motivated when studying can be really hard sometimes, especially when there are so many distractions around. But I've learned a few ways to keep myself focused and on track. One thing that helps me a lot is setting clear goals. When I know what I want to achieve, like finishing a chapter or preparing for a test, it gives me a purpose. I also break big tasks into smaller steps. For example, instead of saying, I'll study for 5 hours, I say, I'll study this topic for 30 minutes, and then take a short break. This makes studying feel more manageable and less overwhelming. Creating a comfortable and tidy study space helps me focus better. I keep my desk clean, make sure there's good lighting, and remove distractions like my phone. I also use a study schedule to plan my day and stick to specific times for studying. Rewarding myself after completing a task keeps me motivated too. Sometimes it's a snack, a short walk, or watching a short video. Studying with friends can also help because we encourage each other and share ideas. I've realized that taking care of my health makes a big difference. Getting enough sleep, eating well, and staying hydrated helps me stay focused. Staying motivated takes effort. How to start a productive morning routine. Having a productive morning routine helps me start my day in a positive and organized way. I've noticed that when my morning goes well, the rest of my day usually goes well too. The first thing I do when I wake up is avoid my phone. Instead of scrolling through social media, I take a few minutes to stretch and clear my mind. Drinking a glass of water helps me feel refreshed and awake. After that, I make my bed. It's a small task, but it gives me a sense of accomplishment right away. I also like to spend a few minutes planning my day. I write down my goals and list the most important things I need to do. A healthy breakfast gives me the energy to stay focused and productive. I try to include fruits, eggs, or oats to keep me full and energized. If I have time, I do a quick workout or take a walk outside. Moving my body helps me feel more active and ready for the day. I also find that spending a few minutes reading or listening to something inspiring puts me in a positive mindset. A good morning routine helps me stay organized, focused, and ready to make the most of my day. Why time management is important. Time management is one of the most valuable skills I've learned because it helps me stay organized and reduce stress. When I manage my time well, I get more things done without feeling overwhelmed. One thing that really helps me is making a daily to-do list. I write down my tasks and prioritize the most important ones. Breaking big tasks into smaller steps also makes them easier to handle. For example, if I need to write a report, I start by researching, then writing an outline, and finally drafting the report. I set specific times for each task and try to stick to them. Using a timer helps me stay focused. I work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. Avoiding distractions is important too, so I turn off unnecessary notifications and keep my study space quiet. Planning ahead keeps me from rushing at the last minute and improves the quality of my work. I also make time for rest and relaxation so I don't burn out. Managing my time well helps me stay calm, focused, and productive throughout the day. The importance of kindness. Kindness is one of the most important qualities a person can have. I believe that being kind makes the world a better place and helps build strong relationships. Simple acts of kindness like smiling at someone or saying thank you can brighten someone's day. I try to be kind by listening when people talk and showing empathy when they're going through a tough time. Helping others without expecting anything in return also brings me a lot of happiness. I've noticed that kindness often comes back. When I'm kind, others are kind to me too. Even small gestures like holding the door for someone or offering a helping hand can make a big difference. Being kind also means being patient and understanding, especially when people make mistakes. I believe that kindness isn't just about how we treat others, it's also about being kind to ourselves. Taking care of my health, setting boundaries, and speaking to myself with compassion helps me stay balanced and happy. Kindness creates a positive and supportive environment, and I try to practice it every day. How to stay positive in difficult times. Staying positive when things get tough isn't always easy. but I've found that it makes a huge difference in how I handle challenges. One thing that helps me stay positive is focusing on gratitude. Even when things go wrong, I remind myself of the good things in my life, like my health, my family, and my friends. I also try to find lessons in difficult situations. Mistakes and failures teach me how to grow and improve. Spending time with positive and supportive people lifts my mood and helps me stay motivated. I avoid negative thoughts by focusing on solutions instead of problems. When I feel overwhelmed, taking deep breaths or going for a walk helps me clear my mind. I also take breaks from social media if it makes me feel anxious or stressed. Taking care of my physical health, eating well, exercising, and getting enough sleep improves my mood and helps me stay positive. Staying hopeful and focusing on my goals keeps me motivated even when things get hard. The importance of patience. Patience is a quality I've been working on because it helps me stay calm and make better decisions. I've realized that good things take time, and rushing often leads to mistakes. Being patient helps me stay focused on my goals without feeling frustrated. For example, learning a new language like English takes time and practice. When I feel impatient, I remind myself that every small step brings me closer to success. Patience also helps me in my relationships. Listening without interrupting and understanding different points of view makes conversations better. Taking deep breaths and staying calm when things don't go my way keeps me from making decisions I might regret. I believe that patience is a form of strength. It shows self-control and wisdom. When I practice patience, I feel more peaceful and focused, and I handle challenges with a clearer mind. Why gratitude matters. Gratitude has changed the way I see life. It helps me focus on the positive and appreciate what I have. Every day, I take a moment to think about the things I'm grateful for, like my health, my loved ones, and the opportunities I have. Expressing gratitude makes my relationships stronger because people feel appreciated when I thank them for their kindness and support. Keeping a gratitude journal helps me stay focused on the good, even when life gets challenging. I've noticed that being grateful reduces my stress and makes me happier. Gratitude also helps me stay humble and reminds me not to take things for granted. Focusing on the positive gives me more energy and motivation to work toward my goals. How? To develop good habits. Developing good habits has helped me improve my life in so many ways. I've learned that small, consistent actions lead to big results over time. One habit I've developed is waking up early and starting my day with a plan. I also make time for reading and learning every day because it helps me grow. Staying organized by keeping my space tidy and writing down my tasks helps me stay focused. Building good habits takes patience. I start small and gradually increase my efforts. For example, if I want to exercise, I start with a 10-minute walk and slowly add more time. Consistency is key. Doing a little every day builds long-term success. The importance of good communication. Good communication is an important skill that helps me express my thoughts clearly and build strong relationships. I have learned that being a good listener is just as important as speaking well. When I listen carefully to others, I understand them better and can respond thoughtfully. I also practice speaking with confidence. Instead of mumbling or speaking too fast, I take my time and make eye contact. Using clear and simple language helps me communicate my ideas more effectively. I also try to be aware of my body language because it plays a big role in communication. Smiling, nodding, and maintaining an open posture show that I am engaged in a conversation. Another important part of good communication is being respectful and polite. I use kind words, avoid interrupting, and show appreciation when someone helps me. Improving my communication skills has made my conversations more meaningful and enjoyable. How to stay organized. Being organized helps me feel less stressed and more in control of my daily life. One of the first things I do to stay organized is declutter my space. I keep my desk, room, and bags neat so I can find things easily. I also use a planner or a to-do list to write down my daily tasks. When I have a clear list, I don't forget important things and I complete my work on time. Another way I stay organized is by keeping a regular schedule. I set specific times for studying, working, and relaxing. I also make sure to keep track of important dates and deadlines so I don't rush at the last minute. Keeping my digital files and emails organized also helps. I create folders for different documents and delete unnecessary files to keep my computer tidy. Staying organized takes effort, but it saves me a lot of time and stress in the long run. How to make meaningful friendships. Making and maintaining meaningful friendships is important for happiness and emotional well-being. I have learned that good friendships are based on trust, respect, and kindness. One way to build strong friendships is by being a good listener. When I listen to my friends with full attention, they feel valued and understood. I also try to be supportive, encouraging my friends when they need motivation, and being there for them in difficult times. Spending quality time together strengthens friendships, even if it's just having a conversation over tea or going for a walk. Respecting differences and giving space when needed also help maintain healthy relationships. Good friends bring happiness, support, and positivity into life, and I value my friendships deeply. How to manage your time effectively. Managing my time well has made my life so much easier and less stressful. I used to feel overwhelmed by everything I needed to do, studying, housework, and spending time with family. But once I learned some simple time management skills, things changed for the better. The first thing I do is make a daily plan. Every morning, I write down the things I want to accomplish that day. I start with the most important tasks so I don't forget them. I also set realistic goals. Instead of trying to finish everything at once, I break big tasks into smaller steps. For example, if I have to study for an exam, I focus on one chapter at a time. Another trick that helps me manage my time is setting time limits. If I decide to spend 1 hour studying, I use a timer so I stay focused. Taking short breaks also keeps my mind fresh and helps me avoid burnout. I avoid distractions like social media when I'm working because they waste a lot of time. Staying organized also saves time. I keep my books, notes, and important items in their proper places so I don't waste time looking for them. By following these habits, I get more done every day without feeling stressed. The importance of staying healthy. Staying healthy is one of the best things I can do for myself. When I take care of my body and mind, I feel happier, more energetic, and more productive. One important part of staying healthy is eating balanced meals. I try to eat fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and protein every day. Drinking enough water is also important because it keeps me hydrated and focused. Exercise is another key to staying healthy. I don't go to the gym, but I make sure to stay active by walking, stretching, or doing simple workouts at home. Even a 15-minute walk every day makes a big difference. Getting enough sleep is just as important. When I sleep well, I wake up feeling refreshed and ready for the day. I also take care of my mental health by managing stress. Spending time with loved ones, practicing deep breathing, and doing activities I enjoy help me stay calm and positive. Staying healthy is not just about physical fitness. It's about feeling good inside and out. How to stay motivated. Staying motivated can be hard, especially when things don't go as planned. But I've found a few ways to keep my motivation strong. One thing that helps me is setting clear and achievable goals. When I know what I want and why it matters, I feel more determined. I also break big goals into smaller steps so they don't seem too difficult. Celebrating my progress keeps me motivated too. Even if I complete a small task, I take a moment to feel proud of myself. Surrounding myself with positive people who support and encourage me makes a big difference. When I start feeling discouraged, I remind myself of my purpose and focus on the good things I've already accomplished. Staying motivated takes effort, but with the right mindset, it becomes easier. How to develop good study habits. Good study habits have helped me learn better and get better results. The first thing I do is create a study schedule. I decide what time I will study and for how long. I also choose a quiet, comfortable place with no distractions. Keeping my study materials organized saves time and keeps me focused. I take notes while studying because writing down important points helps me remember them. I also use different techniques like summarizing, making flashcards, and practicing questions to understand the material better. Taking short breaks while studying helps me stay refreshed and focused. I also review my notes regularly instead of cramming at the last minute. Developing good study habits takes time, but it makes learning easier and more enjoyable. The importance of kindness. Kindness is one of the most important qualities a person can have. I believe that small acts of kindness can make a big difference. Being kind doesn't always mean doing something huge. It can be as simple as smiling at someone, offering help, or saying kind words. When I treat others with kindness and respect, it creates a positive and friendly environment. Kindness also means being patient and understanding. Everyone goes through difficult times, and a little kindness can make someone's day better. I've learned that being kind also makes me feel good. When I help someone, I feel happy and fulfilled. I try to practice kindness every day, even in small ways. How to stay focused. While studying, staying focused while studying can be challenging, especially with so many distractions around me. But I've learned a few strategies that help me concentrate better and make the most of my study time. First, I create a quiet and comfortable study space. I choose a place where there's no noise and keep my phone away so I'm not tempted to check social media. I also make a study plan. Before I start, I write down what I need to accomplish. This keeps me organized and helps me stay on track. Setting small goals makes studying less overwhelming. For example, instead of studying an entire chapter at once, I focus on one section at a time. Taking short breaks also keeps my mind fresh. After 25 or 30 minutes of studying, I take a 5-minute break to stretch or drink water. This helps me avoid feeling tired or distracted. I also use techniques like highlighting key points and making short notes. This makes it easier to remember important information. Staying focused takes practice, but with the right habits, I get more done and feel more confident in my studies. The importance of self-discipline. Self-discipline is one of the most valuable skills I've developed. It helps me stay committed to my goals, even when I don't feel motivated. One thing I've learned is the importance of setting clear goals. When I know what I want to achieve and why it matters, it's easier to stay focused. I also make a plan and stick to it. If I decide to study or work at a certain time, I avoid distractions and stay consistent. Sometimes I feel lazy or tempted to do something more fun, but I remind myself of my long-term goals. I've also learned to manage my time well. Prioritizing my tasks and setting deadlines helps me avoid procrastination. Another part of self-discipline is staying organized. I keep my space tidy and my materials ready so I don't waste time looking for things. When I practice self-discipline, I achieve more and feel proud of my progress. It's not always easy, but the results are always worth it. How to build confidence. Building confidence has made a huge difference in my life. When I believe in myself, I feel more comfortable trying new things and facing challenges. One way I build confidence is by focusing on my strengths. I remind myself of the things I'm good at and the goals I've achieved. Positive self-talk also helps. I replace negative thoughts like, I can't do this, with encouraging words like, I'll do my best. Preparing well also boosts my confidence. Whether it's for a test, a presentation, or a conversation, I feel more confident when I'm ready. I also set small, achievable goals and celebrate my progress. Even small successes help me feel more capable. Spending time with supportive people who encourage me also makes a difference. Confidence grows with practice, and the more I step out of the benefits of volunteering. Volunteering has been one of the most rewarding experiences in my life. Helping others not only benefits the community, but also teaches me important life skills. When I volunteer, I meet new people and make connections. Working with others improves my teamwork and communication skills. Volunteering also teaches me responsibility and time management because I have to balance my tasks and commitments. It gives me a sense of purpose and satisfaction, knowing that my efforts make a difference. I've also learned empathy and kindness by understanding different people's challenges. Volunteering helps me grow as a person and makes the world a better place. How to deal with stress. Dealing with stress in a healthy way has made my life much easier. When I feel overwhelmed, the first thing I do is take deep breaths. Breathing slowly and deeply helps me calm down and think clearly. I also find it helpful to write down my thoughts. Putting my worries on paper helps me understand them better and find solutions. Another way I manage stress is by taking short breaks and doing something I enjoy, like reading or going for a walk. Staying organized and making a to-do list also reduces my stress because it helps me manage my time better. Talking to a friend or family member about my feelings gives me support and different perspectives. I also remind myself that it's okay not to be perfect. Everyone makes mistakes and faces challenges. By taking care of my mental health and practicing self-care, I handle stress better and stay positive. The importance of honesty. Honesty is a value I always try to live by. Being honest builds trust and strong relationships. When I tell the truth, people know they can rely on me. Honesty also helps me feel good about myself because I don't have to worry about keeping secrets or remembering lies. It's not always easy to be honest, especially when I make mistakes. But I've learned that admitting my mistakes and taking responsibility shows maturity and strength. Being honest also means being true to myself, standing up for my beliefs and expressing my feelings respectfully. Honesty creates an environment of respect and understanding, and it helps me build meaningful connections with others. How to stay organized. Staying organized has helped me become more productive and less stressed. I start by keeping my space clean and tidy. When my room or desk is organized, I can find things easily and focus better. I also use a planner or a to-do list to keep track of my tasks and appointments. Breaking big tasks into smaller steps makes them easier to manage. I set reminders for important deadlines so I don't forget them. Digital tools like calendar apps also help me stay on top of my schedule. Staying organized saves time and keeps my mind clear, making my daily life smoother and more efficient. The importance of helping others. Helping others brings so much joy and purpose to my life. Even small acts of kindness, like offering a helping hand or listening to someone's problems, can make a big difference. Helping others teaches me empathy and patience. It also strengthens my relationships because people appreciate kindness and support. Volunteering my time or sharing my knowledge helps my community grow. I've also learned that helping others often inspires them to do the same, creating a positive cycle. By being generous and compassionate, I not only make others happy, but also feel a deep sense of fulfillment myself. How to improve your communication skills. Good communication skills have helped me build better relationships and express myself clearly. I've learned the importance of listening carefully when someone speaks. Giving my full attention and responding thoughtfully shows respect and helps avoid misunderstandings. I also work on speaking clearly and confidently. Using simple and polite language makes my message easier to understand. Practicing active listening, like nodding and asking questions, shows that I'm engaged in the conversation. I also pay attention to my body language, like maintaining eye contact and using friendly gestures. By improving my communication skills, the power of positivity. Positivity has a huge impact on my life. When I focus on the good things, it's easier to handle challenges and stay motivated. One thing I've learned is the importance of staying optimistic, even when things aren't going as planned. Instead of stressing about problems, I try to look for solutions and stay calm. Positive thinking also helps me be kinder to myself. I remind myself that mistakes are part of learning and growth. When I stay positive, I feel more energy and happiness in everything I do. Surrounding myself with positive people also makes a difference. Their energy motivates me and makes me feel more hopeful. I've found that positivity doesn't just improve my mood, it improves my life overall. It helps me stay focused on what really matters, like my goals, my health, and my relationships. How to build a healthy daily routine. Building a healthy daily routine has made a big difference in my life. A routine helps me stay organized and make time for important things, like studying, working, and relaxing. I start my day with a healthy breakfast to give me energy. I also make sure to exercise, even if it's just a short walk, because it helps me feel good and stay active. I set aside time for work and study, but I also make time to rest. Balancing work and rest is essential for staying productive without burning out. I also try to stay hydrated and eat nutritious meals to take care of my body. Having a set bedtime ensures I get enough sleep, which is important for feeling rested and alert the next day. Sticking to a routine makes me feel more in control of my life, and it helps me stay on track with my goals. The importance of setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is something I've learned to value. It's about knowing my limits and making sure I take care of myself. At times, I used to say yes to everything and everyone, even when it was too much for me. But I realized that it's okay to say no when I need to. Setting boundaries helps me manage my time and energy better. For example, I make sure to set aside time for myself without feeling guilty about it. I also set boundaries with work, making sure I don't overwork myself or take on too many tasks. Having clear boundaries allows me to stay focused and maintain my mental and physical health. It's important to communicate my boundaries to others in a respectful way so they understand and respect them. Setting boundaries has helped me feel more confident and in control of my life. The benefits of reading. Reading has been one of my favorite activities for as long as I can remember. It's not only a great way to relax, but it also teaches me new things and expands my mind. When I read, I learn about different cultures, ideas, and perspectives, which helps me become more open-minded. Reading also improves my vocabulary and language skills. I've noticed that the more I read, the easier it is to express myself and understand others. I like to read books that challenge me and make me think deeply. It could be a novel, a biography, or even a self-help book. Sometimes I read to escape into a fictional world, and other times I read to gain knowledge about the real world. Either way, reading is a habit that keeps me curious and engaged in life. How to manage time. Managing time effectively is one of the most important skills I've developed. When I started using a planner, I realized how much easier it was to stay organized and meet deadlines. I begin each week by writing down what I need to accomplish, including work, study, and personal tasks. I break larger tasks into smaller, manageable steps and set deadlines for each one. Prioritizing is key. If something is important, I make sure to do it first. I also avoid multitasking, as I've learned that focusing on one task at a time helps me do a better job. I also make sure to schedule breaks so I don't get too tired or stressed. Managing my time well means I have more control over my day, and I'm able to finish tasks more efficiently. It also gives me more time to relax and do the things I enjoy. The benefits of journaling. Journaling has been a great way for me to reflect on my thoughts and feelings. I started keeping a journal a few years ago, and it has helped me understand myself better. Writing down my thoughts helps me clear my mind, especially when I'm feeling stressed or confused. It's like having a conversation with myself. Journaling also helps me track my progress and see how far I've come. When I look back at older entries, I can see how much I've grown and what I've learned. I write about my goals, my challenges, and even my dreams. It's a safe space where I can be honest and open without judgment. Journaling has not only improved my writing skills, but has also made me more mindful and self-aware. How to stay motivated. Staying motivated can be difficult, especially when I'm feeling tired or discouraged. One thing that helps me is setting clear goals. When I know what I want to achieve and have a plan to get there, it's easier to stay focused. I also remind myself of why I started in the first place. Keeping my goals in mind helps me push through difficult moments. I also break big goals into smaller, achievable steps. This makes it less overwhelming and gives me a sense of accomplishment as I complete each step. Surrounding myself with positive influences, like supportive friends or inspiring quotes, also keeps me motivated. Finally, I make sure to celebrate my progress along the way, even if it's just a small win. Recognizing my achievements helps me stay motivated to keep going. How to develop good habits. Developing good habits has been an important part of my personal growth. I know that habits shape my daily life, so I try to focus on building positive ones. One thing that's helped me is starting small. Instead of trying to change everything at once, I focus on one habit at a time. For example, I began by getting up earlier in the morning. It was challenging at first, but I made a goal to wake up 10 minutes earlier each day until I reached the time I wanted. Consistency is key. Once I do something every day, it becomes a routine, and it's easier to stick with it. I also remind myself that building habits takes time. It's okay if I don't see results right away. I stay patient. The importance of self-discipline. Self-discipline is one of the most valuable skills I've worked on in my life. It helps me stay focused on my goals, even when I don't feel motivated. I've learned that motivation can come and go, but self-discipline keeps me consistent. For example, when I was studying for my exams, there were days when I felt tired and didn't want to study. But I reminded myself of how important my education is and pushed myself to stay on track. I've realized that small daily efforts lead to big results over time. Self-discipline also helps me manage my time better. I create a schedule and stick to it, making sure to balance work, study, and rest. I avoid distractions like spending too much time on my phone so I can focus on what really matters. Building self-discipline wasn't easy at first, but the more I practiced, the stronger it became. Now, it helps me stay committed to my goals and keeps me moving forward. How to stay organized. Staying organized has made my life so much easier and less stressful. When everything is in its place, I can find what I need quickly, and I don't waste time searching for things. One of the best habits I've developed is keeping a to-do list. Every morning, I write down the tasks I want to complete that day. It helps me stay focused and make sure I don't forget anything important. I also keep my living space tidy. I take a few minutes each day to clean up, so things don't pile up and become overwhelming. Organizing my study materials and work tools saves me a lot of time and helps me be more productive. Digital organization is important too. I keep my files and emails sorted into folders so I can find them easily. Staying organized gives me peace of mind and makes me feel more in control of my life. The value of patience. Patience is a quality I've had to learn and practice over time. In a world where everything moves so fast, it's easy to feel frustrated when things don't happen right away. But I've realized that good things take time, and patience helps me stay calm and focused. For example, when I was learning a new skill, I didn't become good at it overnight. It took consistent effort and a lot of practice. There were moments when I wanted to give up, but patience reminded me to keep going. Patience also helps me deal with difficult situations and people. Instead of reacting quickly when I'm upset, I take a deep breath and think before I respond. This approach has helped me maintain good relationships and avoid unnecessary arguments. Being patient also reduces stress because I'm not constantly rushing or worrying. It's a skill that brings peace and success in the long run. The benefits of helping others. Helping others brings so much joy and fulfillment into my life. Whether it's something big or small, acts of kindness make a difference. I remember one time when my friend was feeling overwhelmed with her studies. I offered to help her review for our exams, and seeing her relief and gratitude made me feel so happy. Helping others also strengthens my relationships. When I show support and care, it builds trust and closeness. I've also found that being there for others teaches me empathy and patience. It reminds me to appreciate what I have and be more mindful of others' struggles. Volunteering in my community has been a great way to give back and make a positive impact. Even small gestures, like holding the door open or offering a kind word, can brighten someone's day. Helping others makes the world a better place and brings me a sense of purpose and happiness. How to build confidence. Building confidence has been a journey for me. It didn't happen overnight, but with time and effort, I started believing in myself more. One of the first steps was recognizing my strengths. I made a list of things I'm good at and the achievements I'm proud of. This reminded me that I have value and skills. I also learned to speak positively to myself. Instead of focusing on my mistakes, I started reminding myself that everyone makes mistakes and that there are opportunities to learn. Taking care of my appearance also boosted my confidence. When I feel good about how I look, it shows in the way I carry myself. Another important step was stepping out of my comfort zone. Trying new things and taking on challenges helped me realize I'm capable of more than I thought. Building confidence takes practice, but every small step makes a difference. The importance of good communication. Good communication is essential for building strong relationships and avoiding misunderstandings. I've learned that listening is just as important as speaking. When I truly listen to someone, I understand their point of view better and show them that I care. I also make sure to express myself clearly and respectfully. If I have a problem or concern, I address it calmly instead of letting frustration build up. I've found that using I statements like I feel or I think helps me share my feelings without sounding accusatory. Nonverbal communication, like eye contact and body language, also plays a big role. When I maintain good eye contact and show a friendly posture, it makes conversations more engaging. Practicing good communication has improved my relationships with friends, family, and colleagues, making my interactions more positive and meaningful. How to stay consistent. Consistency is the key to achieving long-term success. I've realized that small, repeated efforts lead to big results over time. For example, when I wanted to improve my fitness, I didn't see results right away. But by working out regularly and sticking to my plan, I started seeing progress. Staying consistent also helps me build good habits. Whether it's studying, working, or developing a skill, showing up every day makes a huge difference. One thing that helps me stay consistent is setting realistic goals. I break big tasks into smaller steps and focus on completing them one by one. I also create a routine so that my efforts become a natural part of my day. Even when I don't feel motivated, I remind myself of my long-term goals and keep going. Consistency builds discipline and brings steady progress. The importance of self-care. Self-care is essential for maintaining my physical, mental, and emotional well-being. I used to think self-care was just about relaxing, but I've learned it's much more than that. It's about taking care of myself so I can stay healthy and happy. I start by making sure I get enough sleep each night because rest is important for my energy and focus. Eating nutritious meals and staying hydrated keeps my body strong. Exercise helps me release stress and stay active. I also take time for activities I enjoy, like reading or spending time with loved ones. Self-care includes setting boundaries and knowing when to take a break. If I feel overwhelmed, I give myself permission to rest. How to overcome procrastination. Overcoming procrastination has been one of my biggest challenges, but I've found ways to manage it. I realize that the longer I put off a task, the harder it feels to start. Breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps makes them less intimidating. I also set deadlines for each step to stay on track. Removing distractions like my phone or social media helps me stay focused. Sometimes I use the 5-minute rule. I tell myself I'll work on something for just 5 minutes. Once I start, I usually keep going. Creating a comfortable workspace and having a clear plan also makes it easier to stay focused. Rewarding myself after completing a task keeps me motivated. By taking these steps, I've become more productive and less stressed. The joy of learning. New skills. Learning new skills keeps my mind active and opens up new opportunities. I love the sense of accomplishment that comes with mastering something new. When I wanted to improve my cooking skills, I started with simple recipes and practiced regularly. Over time, I became more confident and creative in the kitchen. Learning a new language has also been rewarding. It's helped me connect with people from different cultures and broaden my perspective. I've found that setting small, achievable goals keeps me motivated. I also remind myself that making mistakes is part of the learning process. Every time I learn something new, I grow as a person and gain more confidence in my abilities. The power of positive thinking. Positive thinking has a big impact on how I feel and how I approach life. I've realized that when I focus on the good, I feel better and more motivated. It's easy to get caught up in negative thoughts, especially when things don't go as planned. But I've learned to shift my mindset by focusing on what's going well instead of what's not. For example, when I face challenges at work or school, I remind myself of my strengths and past successes. This helps me stay confident and hopeful. I've also started practicing gratitude. Every day I think about the things I'm thankful for, no matter how small they are. This simple habit has helped me stay positive even in difficult times. I've noticed that when I think positively, I attract more positive energy. It makes me more open to new opportunities and helps me build stronger relationships. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means approaching them with a mindset that focuses on solutions and growth. It's a powerful tool for improving my well-being and achieving my goals. Learning to manage stress. Stress is something I've struggled with, but over time, I've found ways to manage it. One of the first things I did was recognize the signs of stress in my body. When I feel tense or overwhelmed, I know I need to take a break. I've learned that deep breathing exercises help me relax and calm my mind. Sometimes, I take a few minutes to close my eyes and breathe slowly, focusing on each breath. Another strategy that works for me is staying organized. When I have a clear plan and manage my time well, I feel less stressed. Regular exercise has also been a big help. Whether it's a walk, yoga, or going to the gym, moving my body releases tension and boosts my mood. I've also realized the importance of rest. When I feel stressed, I make sure to get enough sleep and take time to relax. Managing stress isn't about avoiding it completely, but about finding healthy ways to cope with it. These habits have helped me feel more balanced and in control of my life. How to build strong relationships. Building strong relationships has been one of the most rewarding things in my life. I've learned that trust and communication are the foundations of any good relationship. I make an effort to listen carefully when people talk to me. I try to understand their feelings and perspectives before responding. This makes others feel heard and valued. I also believe in being honest and open about my own feelings. Sharing my thoughts and emotions helps to create a deeper connection. I've also realized the importance of spending quality time together. Whether it's a simple conversation or doing something fun, time spent with loved ones strengthens our bond. Showing appreciation is another important part of building relationships. I try to express gratitude for the people in my life, whether it's a small compliment or a thank you note. These simple acts of kindness go a long way in making relationships stronger. Lastly, I know that every relationship requires effort. I make sure to check in with my friends and family regularly, even when life gets busy. Strong relationships